There you go.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the April 26th meeting of the Conservation, Sustainability, and Green Initiatives Committee. Council, can you take roll?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Reinhardt,
Yep.
Efacoro,
Here.
Camisso, Fine,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
Miller,
Present.
Plotsky,
Present.
Simpson,
Here.
and Pearlie.
Here.
8 present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. First order of business is approving the previous meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second from Vicky. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Big surprise. Okay, it's approved. The first two items are relating to local law M, which I believe would both be tabled at the request of the sponsor. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All righty, well, so do. Next item is the number 4, the local law number A for 2022, a local law establishing the Sustainable Technology and Green Energy Act. I believe this also needs to be tabled because we have not yet had the public hearing, correct, Council?
Yes, it'll be at 7:15 tonight.
Okay. I do have comments on it, but I will hold off on them.
Bill, I have one question if I could about it before. I know we're tabling it, but were there changes? Did we change the name in something? Did I see that in there? Now it's called Stage versus something else?
I think STAGE was the acronym for the title.
Yeah, it was there.
Was it?
I didn't see that as a change. It was always there, I think.
It was called Green Economic. It looks like it's called the Green Economic Development Plan, and now it's being called Stage. Or did that
So,
change the last time? I just didn't catch it.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Sure.
I don't like this, and Matt, you're kind of getting into why I don't like this, because the way it's confusing. The stage is essentially setting the stage for the plan.
Mhm.
So the plan comes later. The Stage Act sets the legal framework to allow us to develop a plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the real meat of it is, Matt. And you and I have talked about
Right.
potential issues. That's where we'll see them, is in the plan.
Right. But it does say, Pat, that in later on, it talks about that we shall approve the final stage plan. So you're just saying this part is just getting us, what I asked before, right?
Yeah, the Stage Act is establishing the legal framework so that the county can create a plan based on
Stage plan.
the legal framework.
It just,
And-
the only other question sorry, Pat, the only other question I have is it looks like they changed the name of it. That's all.
Hmm.
From the Green Economic Development Plan, but we don't have to, it's not a
Okay.
big deal. Just asking a question. No biggies.
Now, Pat, isn't it correct that ultimately when this plan is created, it's going to be called the Green Economic Development Plan?
It's going to call the plan. I'll get the details. I took great issue with them switching from act to plan. So
All
but that
right.
was before it was ever introduced.
Okay.
Well, we'll be ready for it whenever it gets here and whatever name it has.
All right. Gotcha. Sorry. about that.
Okay, let's move on to current business. Item 136, amending Resolution 415 for 1997 and updating the public use plan for the Lawson Lake property facilitating public access. Who is presenting on that?
I believe the chairman is here tonight.
He's here. I see him.
You mean Andrew? Are we waiting for Andrew?
He's in the meeting. He joined. and-
He's muted right now.
Yeah, I see that. There he is.
Hey, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Okay, Andrew, we're talking about the Lawson Lake project.
Yes, this is a pretty exciting development. A group of triathloners had contacted the county a couple months ago about potentially using Lawson's Lake as a training site. And as many of us know, a lot of work has been done, prior to that and ongoing to get Lawson's Lake eventually ready, for public use and for swimming. And and purposes exactly like this. So what was determined through some research and through some cross coordination with the county executive's office and recreation is that we would need to amend what we did several years ago to allow for a special use permit for these individuals to use Lawson's Lake to train for their triathlon. And now they would be providing their own lifeguards and there would be testing done prior to the water before they began training. But they're hoping to begin training in June. So our timeline is pretty good. And through our work with the county executive's office and recreation, this is a major step forward for one of the county's best assets.
I just have a quick question, Andrew. This testing of the water, is this an easily done real-time kind of a test, or is this something where samples have to be sent to a lab?
I can probably handle that. It's kind of both. What they're mainly looking for is cyanobacteria, which is just, you can see it. So it's a visual confirmation in addition to testing that will be done starting earlier as soon as this passes, probably. They're going to work towards the treatment of the bacteria. But it's my understanding that the way these individuals will train is you'll have the swimmers, and these are going to be accomplished swimmers, next to boats or around boats. So the boats are going to go out first and monitor the water. And then if the water's clear, then they're going to be able to swim in it.
Are these the only people swimming in Lawson Lake?
Well, swimming is currently prohibited by the resolution they're seeking to amend.
And that means people don't even wade into it now?
Not to my knowledge, not lawfully.
Not lawfully. I've been out there a lot. Not
Plenty of
lawfully.
people swim there.
Okay. Do we have any liability issues about having the people swimming in it?
We
Patrick,
talked with the Department of Law. These things are easy to contract to make sure there's a hold harmless agreement with the swimmers.
Okay. I was one of these types of swimmers as a young man, and I remember somebody that was on my swimming team went into a lake near Stanford, and we thought everything was fine, and it wasn't. So that's reason for my questions.
well, I'm not surprised because these triathloners are very motivated and they're pushing the needle on this, which is a good thing. But they wanted to train in Albany County. This is an Albany County group. They had trained in Rensselaer County before, but they came to Lawson's Lake to do a walkthrough and observe, and they fall in love with the place. And I think this is the right moment to make something happen. So I'm excited.
Right. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Bill, I have some.
Yep.
So you addressed some of them for me, which I appreciate. Making sure the water's clear is really important. The only thing, you answered the insurance part of it. The only thing I worry about too, Andrew, with it, just that liability issue is, having been out there a lot, that particular lake is full of milfoil and a lot of, just below the surface kind of vegetation. So the problem's not always just the water quality, but people getting caught up in that and then getting in trouble. I'm sure these people looked at it, maybe feel better. I don't know when they looked at it, but when you look at it in, April or March versus when you look at it in July and August, it's a very different lake. So I just want to raise that as a concern that somebody's looking. I don't think there's any plans to cut any of that stuff down, but that's usually the issue in that Lawson Lake is the under vegetation that gets people caught up. So just want to raise that issue.
Okay. No, we'll communicate all these concerns to, they're going to do an additional walkthrough or an observation visit soon with the county executive's office and the staff at Lawson's Lake. And, we'll be in contact with them. As I stated before, these triathloners are a serious group. And, if they're not underwater cutting down vegetation, I wouldn't be surprised, but they're very motivated. So it's a good.
All right. I guess if there are no other questions, do we have a motion
I'll make a motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
Vicky, Patricia, either one. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, the motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
The next item is number 137, establishing a tree preservation policy for development of Albany County owned parcels. Jeff, do you want to speak to this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You recall from our previous discussions that this is sort of the successor to the local law that I had proposed that had sort of two components. The first component was sort of policy in nature relating to when and if the county disturbed a certain amount of forest land and what we would do to remediate that. And the second component was as part of the creation of a Albany County Forest Preserve. In discussions with yourself and your council, we've arrived at a different approach, which would be to take the two components sequentially. The second being the idea of creating a forest preserve, which we are actively meeting on, and that's sort of the bigger piece. The first being the policy component, which is when the county disturbs half acre or more of forested land, what we do about it, and that's the provision that we have in front of you, which at council's suggestion we are approaching not as a local law but as a policy, because it concerns the county and the county actions on county property. So the conclusion was that a policy was the right way to deal with that particular aspect of the overall proposal.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Matt?
I got a lot to say tonight, Jeff. Sorry, buddy. I know you guys have worked very hard on this, so I'm not trying to be a pain. You answered one of my questions right off the bat. So this is if we disturb our own county-owned land, so I get that. I know there was one question, and this might have been answered by you guys before, so just, help me out if it was. The Soil and Water Conservation Board, which Bill and I sit, had concerns about being able to do the inventory, having the people to do that inventory. Has that part been resolved?
Jeff, I think, and Rebecca, I think we did address that by the way we worded this new policy statement, that they're only doing the things that are kind of within their existing skill set and manpower limits.
Yes, this does not delegate any particular responsibilities to soil and water conservation. It merely requires a tree inventory. The county could do it internally if resources and personnel are available, or contract out for that through CAB or otherwise.
Right. I see that now. Thank you. I think I'm just confusing the two of them. What's in each one? Thanks for all the work on this and the willingness to move around with it, Jeff. It's great concept.
I will add that Soil and Water, they already do go out to visit private landowners, mostly farmers, who have issues where they want maybe to control erosion or do various things, and the guys at Soil and Water do provide kind of an eyeball assessment and that sort of thing. So I mean, they can do the kind of things that we're looking at here for a specific parcel. What they really did not want to be doing, as I recall from my conversation with Susan Lewis, was that they didn't want to be tasked with kind of a more detailed assessment, planting trees and this and that. And so the idea would be we could very well be working with other partners when it comes to those tasks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Chairman.
Yep. Go ahead, Mark.
It's unclear to me. One says they'll replace a sapling, or they'll put a money into account apparently to replace two. So which is it, or why is there the option? I'm unclear about that.
Jeff, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to take a shot at it?
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Mark, the idea here is that at least, my interpretation of this is, okay, we may be cutting down big trees. We would obviously be planting small trees, saplings, or much smaller trees. A 1-to-1 replacement of one small tree for every big tree you cut down doesn't really reach the goal, which is to try to maximize our carbon sequestration and the other benefits of the trees. So that's why we have the value piece there, where we would be putting into a pot the money to equal the value of the tree that is taken down, which would in a sense really provide you the resources for planting more than one small tree, right? The big tree has more value than the baby tree. So this is one way to kind of fund this planting process by representing the fact that you're taking down bigger trees and you're planting much more inexpensive trees in their place.
So with these other trees, the value into a fund, these were for trees in another location or the same location as the cutting?
It would not be in the same location necessarily. It probably wouldn't be based on the limited parcels that we're dealing with here.
All right, so there's the option of either replacing the tree with the sapling right there or replacing two trees somewhere else. Is that it? Or
That's the essential idea, yes. You know, what
we're trying to keep a carbon,
yeah, and
Well,
actually to
the
improve
carbon-
the situation, by having
Yeah.
ultimately at the end result as more trees than we're cutting down.
okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Purley, for your initiation on this in the beginning. It's great. Thank you, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Can I have a motion? All right, Vicky. And a second from Patricia. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just to thank you and also Rebecca for just a tremendous degree of willingness to work on this and to find a proactive way forward. So I very much appreciate that.
Patricia? Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody that worked on this very hard. I'd like to ask to be a co-sponsor, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Item number 7 is a public hearing on the proposed modifications to the agriculture districts numbers 2 and 3. And I think I saw Laura's name here somewhere. Is she here?
Yes, hello.
Hello. You have the floor, Laura.
This is a public hearing for the annual additions to agricultural districts. It's the 30-day period that occurs annually that people can add parcels that are agricultural to any of the 3 agricultural districts in the county.
Any questions? This is a pretty routine. Do I have a motion to approve? Vicky? And do I have a second from Jeff?
Second, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, the motion carries. And the last item is also Laura's, adopting the proposed modifications to agricultural district number 1.
And this is the final step of the 8-year review process on agricultural district number 1. The public hearing was held at the end of March, I believe.
March 29th.
And this is the final step to approve the modifications to Ag District 1.
Can you just summarize if there was anything significant here that we should note?
Other than the additions and the subtractions, it was a net addition of parcels. I think 145 acres were found to be developed or non-agricultural and were removed. And a total of 387 were added through both the annual review process over the years and through this 8-year review.
Okay, nothing out of the ordinary.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions or comments on this, Matt?
I just had a quick one, and I think you maybe just answered it for me, Laura, which is those actual changes. Have we seen those in previous iterations of this in other meetings? Because I know for 2 and 3, you have them actually listed out what the changes are. Were the changes in previous parts of this process?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why they're not in this. I noticed 140,000, number, but I didn't see that specific.
Yeah, the individual parcels, I believe, were in the RLA for the public hearing.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. That's what I figured it was. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Laura? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
All right, Matt. Motion, Vicky, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries. I think we can adjourn until we have our public comment period coming up. Any comments anyone else has? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion.
All right, Matt. Second, Vicky. All right. Do we need
Thank
to
you.
vote?
All in favor?
All in favor. All right, meeting
Aye.
adjourned. Bye-bye.